This is Boxing Talk 8576. I want to talk about Errol Spence, and I want to put Errol Spence in perspective for a lot of people, man, because I think Errol Spence is a good fighter. I see some things that Errol Spence does really well, and I see some things that Errol Spence don't do so well, and that will, in my opinion, will keep him from being the man at welterweight. And I'm listening to a lot of channels, this guy Dream Chasing Boxing. I listen to his channel. He got some pretty good videos up. I just started listening to him, looking at his video the last 3 days. He got some good content. Go check him out. I seen 78 video of the 3 welterweights he picked. He picked Errol Spence, Kell Brook, and Keith Thurman. I know Blood, he got Errol Spence as the top, or as his welterweight is going to take over the welterweight division. And several other channels like Boxing Beats and Rhymes. All those channels, good channels, man. Go check them out. But my thing, I'm going to start off with 78. My thing is with 78 is he has Errol Spence, Kell Brook, and Thurman as the top 3 welterweights in 2017. Now, I know a lot of people like Errol because they say his skill set, they like how his skill set is, and they like the fact that, a lot of people like the fact that he went in there and stopped Bundu, and he stopped Chris Algieri. And a lot of people point to the fact that Keith Thurman wasn't able to stop Bundu, and Pacquiao put Chris Algieri down 6 times, but he didn't stop him, but Errol Spence did. But I'm going to say this. Your skill set does not translate to you being a great fighter or the best fighter in the division. Your skill set has to be coupled with other elite fighters in the division. Like Chris Algieri and Bundu are closer to the bottom of the welterweight division at best. You can maybe say middle. Okay, you can put them in the middle, but they're not the top echelon of the division. Errol Spence did not do that against the top of the division. Guess who did that? Keith Thurman did that against the top people in the division, of the welterweight division. He did it against Danny Garcia. He went in there and won, to me, 8-4. I thought Keith Thurman did exactly what his personality is a boxer puncher. I thought he punched and hurt Danny Garcia 3 or 4 times in the fight, and he outboxed him when he wanted to box. Now, I did want Keith Thurman to get the knockout, and that's the ultimate conclusion you can get in boxing. But within his style, if you don't get the knockout, I have to see if you go in there and dominate according to the style that you fight in. And I thought he did that. He beat Sean Porter. Now, in my opinion, he beat 2 of the top 5 welterweights in the division. While Errol Spence beat welterweights in the middle of the road. His last 2 really good wins that everybody thriving on are guys that are in the middle of the welterweight division. So, if you want to say skill set, Keith Thurman's skill set as a boxer puncher and him showing you against the top welterweights, he should be the best welterweight hands down. You can say either him or you can say Pacquiao. Because Pacquiao did come back and beat Bradley after he lost to Mayweather, and he beat a young Jesse Vargas. So you can even say Pacquiao. How in the world you can have Errol Spence as a top 3 welterweight is mind-boggling to me. Because he has not realized that skill set against top welterweights. Now he has realized that skill set against middle of the road or at the bottom of the welterweight division guys, but not at the top. Kell Brook, I'm okay with Kell Brook. He did come to America and beat Sean Porter when Sean Porter was undefeated and Sean Porter was the IBF champion. He did do that, and I thought he won the fight comfortably. A lot of people say the fight was close. I didn't see the fight as being close. He hurt Sean Porter several times. He out-jabbed him. He out-punched him. He out-boxed him. He out-moved him. And plain and simple, he just outdid everything on him. So, to have that man as the top, one of the top 3 welterweights is putting him way at a place where he don't even deserve to be at. And I know he has a history in sparring of blacking Mayweather's eye or stopping Broner. I guess he knocked Broner down or had him dizzy or whatever. That doesn't translate to fighting the top welterweights in your division, coupled with your skill set. That what makes you a great fighter. I can't look at a fighter and say, man, his skill set is awesome. Okay, like Erickson Lubin. I like Erickson Lubin. I just got up on him maybe like 2 weeks ago, and I started looking at some of his fights. I looked at about 6 of his fights so far. I like the way he fights. I like the way he approaches his fights. He's more like a boxer puncher. He's he got that young, frenetic style that he want to get everybody out of there. And he fights really well. He got some things that he need to work on, but he fights really well. And I like his skill set, but I can't say Edison Lubin is one of the top 3 154-pound fighters. And he has not fought anybody in the top 5 at 154. See, you see how that works? You can't say the man's skill set automatically puts him over. Now, how can you put Errol Spence over Manny Pacquiao as one of the 3 best welterweights? You have to explain that to me, because Pacquiao has beaten, in the last year or so, he has beaten better fighters. His last 2 opponents are better than Errol Spence's last 2 opponents by far. Jesse Vargas, Tim Bradley. Those 2 fighters and the 2 fighters that Errol Spence fought are night and day, man. But anyway, that's, to each their own, man. But do Keith Thurman has flaws? Of course Keith Thurman has flaws. Every fighter has flaws. I know Dream Chasing Boxing said he thinks Keith Thurman is a complete fighter. And then he goes around and say, well, I see a lot of holes in this game. So if either he's a complete fighter or you see a lot of holes in his game, it has to be either one. It can't be, that's an oxymoron. You can't say he's a complete fighter, but you see a lot of holes in his game. But I'm going to tell you some holes in Keith Thurman's game. Keith Thurman is not a good inside fighter. I don't like how Keith Thurman reacts to the inside when a guy gets on the inside of him and throws punches. I don't like how Keith Thurman body language is. To me, that's one of his flaws that I don't like. Another thing, of the last 3 or 4 fights, Keith Thurman has been taking his foot off the gas. I would like to see Keith Thurman put his foot on these guys' throat and go in there and go for the kill when I clearly see that he can get guys up out of there. But when I look at Errol Spence and I look at Keith Thurman is more closer to a complete fighter than Errol Spence. Yes, Errol Spence has good body punching. That doesn't translate to Errol Spence being more of a skill fighter than Keith Thurman, because Errol Spence, his feet are not that mobile. He's close to being. He's like a Adrian Broner front foot, flat footed fighter. That's what he is to me. He's flat footed. He doesn't get on the balls of his toes. He's more of, I'm trying to knock you out at all costs. He doesn't throw proper feints. He doesn't throw feints, period. I don't see him moving his goddamn head. He gets hit by the right hand. I've seen like at least 3 or 4 of his fights. And he always get hit with the right hand, and he will get hit with it repeatedly. Now, he's getting the guys out of there because these are the guys that are brought in there for him to get out of there. These are guys that are brought in there so far in his career for him to win. So he's doing what he's supposed to do. But I do not see him separating himself from Keith Thurman like everybody else do. Keith Thurman is on top. Errol Spence is still a contender trying to be a champion. Now, he has a chance to be a champion, but he's still a contender trying to be a champion. Keith Thurman is a unified WBC, WBA champion. So Keith Thurman, I'm going to give Keith Thurman all his respect. I know people give him respect, but they try to tear him down to build Errol Spence up more. And I don't have to tear Errol Spence down to build Keith Thurman up, because Keith Thurman's career so far speaks for itself. He's way ahead of where Errol Spence is. way ahead. Now you could talk about talk about Errol Spence's skill set, but I just told you. And then another thing about Errol Spence, he's not that busy in the center of the ring as much as people think he is. He's really busy when he gets you on the ropes. That's when he throw 70% of his offense is when you on the ropes. So yes, you don't want to get yourself caught on the ropes too many times in the fight, but most of the elite fighters, they can make that adjustment and not be caught on the ropes. Then Errol Spence will have to go to plan B. His plan B is not better than his plan A. I seen Keith Thurman's plan A and plan B. Keith Thurman's plan A is to get on his front foot, try to get you out of there. If he don't get you out of there, plan B is to box. He can beat you 9-3 or 8-4 boxing if he doesn't get you out of there. So this is my thing. Errol Spence, I like Errol Spence. He can fight. I will have to see much more of him against the top welterweights, which he's finna fight a top welterweight. So we finna learn a lot about him before I can say he's one of the best 3 welterweights in the division. So that's my thought on it. Let me know what you think. You know, you can leave a comment below. This is Boxing Talk 8576. I'm out.